And we begin tonight at 6 o'clock with a Two on Your Side original investigation on housing in the city of Buffalo. And good evening, I'm Scott Levin.
And I'm Kelly Dudzik. Mary Alice is off tonight. This has to do with our reports about how the city was spending tax dollars on a so-called affordable housing program, which was costing on average nearly $500,000 per house.
Yeah, and our Dave McKinley spoke with the regional director of the Department of Housing and Urban Development about the program today.
Our original series of reporting on how the city spent $5 million worth of HUD funds to rehab just 11 homes raised the ire of City Comptroller Mark Schroeder.
It is just being spent like a drunken sailor.
The eyebrows of Congressman Brian Higgins.
The exorbitant costs here to rehabilitate homes is unacceptable.
And as we learned today, certainly caught the attention of Lynn Patton, the regional administrator of HUD.
When I heard about this situation, I'm surprised you guys didn't hear me screaming all the way from New York City.
While on a visit to Chautauqua County today, she said she was concerned enough to also pay a call on Mayor Brown in Buffalo.
To take $5 million and renovate 11 houses, is not ideally what the taxpayers expect.
But after meeting with Brown, she came away with the belief that while the money spent was significant, it was not spent inappropriately.
There are situations where sometimes the overriding revitalization of certain communities exceeds the market value of that property. In this particular situation, revitalizing and rehabbing those specific houses was essential to the stabilization of this particular community.
But that's not to say the program isn't in need of reforms. And Patton, appointed by President Trump after working for him in the private sector, says they're trying to make the rehabs less costly, in particular by taking aim at some onerous HUD regulations, which are the very thing Mayor Brown insisted in prior interviews were at the root of the sky-high costs.
What steps are you taking to make sure these dollars are spent as they're supposed to be and efficiently?
Secretary Carson and I are working very hard to figure out how to eliminate prevailing wage rates so that developers can do these preservation projects at a much cheaper cost and much more effective cost for the taxpayers.
A developer who works with the city on some of these rehab projects told us another time is the limited amount of time that communities have to spend that money before it has to be returned to Washington. And this sometimes forces them into a use it or lose it philosophy. Well, according to the regional administrator, they're also looking at that and perhaps changing it so that cities could keep that money longer before making a decision and therefore hopefully get a better vetting on a particular project and make more efficient use of the money. Dave McKinley, Channel 2 News.